Okay, good. Oh, yeah, I don't want that one there. Good. Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon. Welcome to the weekly live stream. As you know, we do this every Monday at this time, 1 p.m. UK time. You can work that out wherever you are in the world. US is Eastern Standard Time, 5 hours behind. It's now 11 o'clock at night in Sydney. If anyone's watching me in Sydney, good credit to you. Yeah, welcome to the weekly live stream. Our chance to basically have a look at the markets, see what's been driving the markets, having a look at maybe potential opportunities for the week ahead. Also, your chance to take part in our weekly giveaway, where we basically give away 2 assessment accounts absolutely free. Just for turning up and having your best guess in gold will give you the opportunity. So it's the nearest the pin, basically. Whoever guesses the gold markets correctly. Looking at gold earlier, I don't know, I'm quite fancying gold up this week, to be honest. Let's have a look here at gold, and we'll get to our prizes in a moment. So this is gold. I think I called it right in gold. My guess was at 3415. And the closing guess was the closing answer result was 29. Actually, it was down on the week, wasn't it? Now we're pushing up on gold, and most probably will challenge these levels that I thought would challenge last week. But gold actually had a down week. It's down about 2% on the week. So we'll look at gold in a moment. So over to the prize giveaway. So we do this every week. And we're just about to open up the next week's competition. You basically have to guess the price of gold for this Friday, and it's not the 23rd, is it? It's the 6th of June. So let me just change that a second. Let me just change that. Do we go to the 6th, isn't it? Friday the 6th of June. There we go. That's how high tech this is. And we can carry on with that. So the price of gold closed at 3289. We had 2 lucky winners. First winner is from Indonesia. That's Zumat from Indonesia. Okay, congratulations to you. You were pretty close, I understand. You were pretty close. You came in at... Where did you come in at? Does it say here? No, I don't actually have the exact levels that you picked, but you were the close. And then we've got Pauline Sun from New Jersey in the US. So if you're listening in from the US, congratulations. You are going to be emailed the account details. So now we're going to open up this week's competition. You basically have until 50, so that's 45 minutes from now to guess the week. I beg your pardon, that was wrong, it wasn't it? I did change it. It was the Friday the 23rd last week. I'm getting myself in night knots here. We now have to guess the price of gold for this Friday, 6th of June, at the close of play, which will be at about 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:59. Okay, you've got until 1:50 to get your entries in to win this free evaluation. Now, in the chat here, you will see a link to a form where you need to put in your details. Make sure you put in your correct email address. Otherwise, you won't be obviously notified if you win, and you won't be able to claim your prize. So put in your correct email address where you will be able to be contacted. And then you should be. We seem to have this problem every week on the form for some reason. I'm not sure why that is going on, but the form should be there. We'll have to sort that out, I think. So there you are. You've got 45 minutes to get your guess in. Okay, so as I said, this event, this sort of live stream we do, we'll look at some sort of fundamentals. We'll talk about the main runners and riders for the week. We'll look at really what was driving the markets last week. Before I continue into that, I do have to put up, of course, this disclaimer. We do this because we have to, because some people think that I have some magic wand that I can tell you where markets are going and that I'm always right. Well, unfortunately, I'm not. This is meant for education and entertainment purposes. I don't know if it's entertaining or not, but education purposes anyway. And hopefully you gain something from that. But do not trade on the back of what I say. Do not place trades in your assessment accounts, your funded accounts, or your own live money, if that's what you're doing, on the back of what I say. After all, what do I know? I just give you my views on where I think markets are and where they're going, and so forth. So you're all grown up, hopefully, in this room, and you have to take everything with this disclaimer in mind. You should seek a independent financial advisor if you are in any doubts. Who won last week's giveaway? Nelson, I just announced that. Are you not keeping up with the stream? So there they are. Yeah, Paul Son, New Jersey, and Zumat from Indonesia. Okay. Right. Okay. So let's have a look then at where we were last week. It was a really quiet week last week. It was one of the quietest weeks we've had for a long time. I don't know if that's because it's the beginning of the summer. I don't know if that's because Donald Trump appeared to be winding, sort of becoming a little bit more sort of toning down his tariffs and what have you. The gold hardly moved, down 1.5%. As I say, hardly moved. S&P 500 was marginally up 1.7%. Dollar was unchanged, really, slightly lower, slightly up was the dollar, up 0.3, I think. Although dollar is under pressure this week, and I think it certainly started off this week under pressure, and I think it's more likely to continue under pressure. But the dollar was unchanged pretty much on the week. Bitcoin down 3% means absolutely nothing. Down 3%, so we're not. That's nothing for Bitcoin, isn't it? The FTSE, that's the UK stock market, was up 0.5%, and down was oil. Down about 3%. So they were the main sort of movers. Tesla stock was up a little bit, but really not much going on at all last week, despite having some data out and what have you. Now this week we are obviously over the weekend. We had Donald Trump basically sort of notching up the rhetoric on tariffs. He's putting up steel and aluminium. Or aluminum. That's what they call it there, isn't it? Aluminum. Tariffs of 25 and 50% on that, and the sort of right there. The tariff war with China seems to be dialing up a little bit at the moment. So stocks have started off this week really in risk-off mood. Just to explain what risk-on, risk-off means. Risk-on is when investors, traders want more risk with their money, so they tend to go into high risk assets such as the stock market. Stocks basically, if you're confident about you want to take on more risk, you move into stocks. That's risk on. If you're defensive and you don't want to take on more risk, if you're concerned about capital preservation, then you tend to move money out of stocks, maybe put it into cash, or indeed, you might put it into some sovereign bonds in general. Bonds are basically IOUs, where the lender, central bank, if it's a government bond, of course, or a company, promises to pay you back the money at the end of the term. And in between, you get payments, interest rate payments. They're known as coupons, if you're interested. So they are more sort of safe haven assets. Did actually see a bit of a move into bonds towards the end of last week. Yields came down a little bit, so that's basically risk on. So risk on is where risk off at the moment is where we are. Stocks are slightly off at the moment. You're also seeing the dollar start the week in negative territory. Again, this is the sort of aftermath of the tariffs. Again, it's deemed not to be positive for the US economy, these tariffs, and of course that was going to have a negative effect on the dollar. And the dollar's had a massive move this year, 10% down against certainly against the yen. It's down about 10%. So the dollar is under pressure, having had a bit of an unchanged week last week. Dollar's kicking off this week under pressure. I don't again take this as investment advice, but often on a Monday when you see the trend kick off and beginning of the week, and it's the beginning of the month, and you're seeing a particular move in a particular asset class in one direction, I think it's quite interesting to watch that throughout certainly for the week and maybe even the month. So I think the US dollar is going to remain under a little bit of pressure this week as well. We'll go through some data in a moment, and I'll talk about the reasons why as well. Let's have a look. The winners will be announced, Vanar, next Monday. Okay, so we always announce the winners the following Monday from the competition. Jigga, oh, good to see you in the house. Good to see you, young. I can't tell if you're male or female. It's good to have another live market analysis with you, Mr. Andrew. Looking forward to learn a lot today. Okay, well, what we talk about in these live streams, Jigga, is basically the fundamentals and the technicals. Now, I know a lot of you don't trade the fundamentals, and that's absolutely right. I must admit, fundamentals doesn't really play a part in my day trading. I definitely want to be aware of what's going on. If the fundamentals agree with the technicals, then that makes for what I would call a grade A setup. If the technicals are just are just showing what they're showing, maybe a grade B. But if the fundamentals align with the technicals, then that's normally a grade A. So we like that. So I go through a bit of the fundamentals, and again, even if you're not trading the fundamentals, I think it's worth knowing what you are trading, what it's all about, why things are happening, why things are moving, because ultimately that's what you are. You're trading these asset classes that are moving throughout the trading day. Okay, so today we've got not a lot on today. We had some PMI data out this morning in the Eurozone, which was showing reasonably good sort of optimism in the economy. Euro pushed higher really on the back of that, but it's coming back at the moment. But today we've got the ISM manufacturing survey. Okay, so 49.3 from 48.7. Anything that's above 50 is deemed to be an economy that's expanding. Anything below is contracting. If this number is high, it comes in higher. It basically means there's more optimism in the manufacturing sector, and that can sometimes lead to upward pressure on the currency. Anything that comes in lower than expected would normally negatively affect the currency. So that's out in about 15 minutes time. Let me just my squawks just stopped. Let me just put my squawk back on, so I will be notified when that comes out. Yeah, there you go, connection. I thought I hadn't paid my subscription. There you are. So we got manufacturing out at 1:30 today in the US. These times you see on the screen are UK times. Right. This is obviously out of sync, but we've got Arida speaking tomorrow morning in the UK. Arida is the Japanese central banker, head of the central bank there, and he's going to be speaking. Japanese monetary policy is very much in the spotlight at the moment. Remember, the inflation that we've seen in the developed world over the recent couple of years, been high inflation. Japan notoriously has had problems getting inflation up. Okay, so but inflation is picking up now in Japan, which is exactly what they need and exactly what they want. Remember, inflation isn't necessarily a bad word. Inflation needs to be healthy, around 2%. Oh yes, you mentioned market structure, isn't it? Last week I hadn't put anything together. I forgot about that bit. Staying home. So basically keep an eye out on Japan. If he's talking sort of any optimism about rates going higher, then of course that's going to help push this euro to yen, dollar yen lower. Dollar yen already is under a lot of pressure. I tend to think, we'll look at it in the charts in a moment, I tend to think that the dollar yen does have more to go to the downside, coming into some levels that we need to be looking at. Then we've got consumer price index in Switzerland, due to come in at about up 0.2% from flat. Not really following that too much at the moment, but obviously it's just showing an uptick in prices, which I think is a direct result of tariffs. And then tomorrow afternoon we've got JOLTS. JOLTS are basically job openings. Okay, job openings where we expect. Actually, this is last month's number. We don't have an estimate at the moment for tomorrow's number. But again, this JOLTS number always comes just a few days before the main event, which is non-farm payroll, which is at the end of the week. Job openings, I used to always follow this one as a big one because it was a bit of a leading indicator. if more jobs are being created, it means, the economy is, bubbling along nicely, and businesses are, looking to create more employment opportunities. I think it's almost like a bellwether for the big event at the end of the week. Okay, so if you're looking for clues in jolts, it used to be really big. I mean, I think it still does have the tendency to move markets, but maybe pay attention to that. That comes on at 3 o'clock on Tuesday. So Wednesday we've got Australian gross domestic product expected to slow a slight contraction on month down to 0.4. GDP is basically the income of a country. Okay, so if the income is going down, normally what will happen is that, the bias is if GDP is dropping, there is a tendency for the central bank to be more pressurized to cut interest rates to spur on the economy. And of course, if they cut interest rates, the tendency is for the currency to follow. So a weak number is bad for the currency. In theory, it doesn't always work like that. Remember, if the fundamentals agree with your technicals, then it makes for a more high risk trade. On 2:45 on Wednesday, we've got, that's the UK time, we've got the bank.
Good morning, and let's go through the morning juice for the US session. So
okay, that's just a squat. So the Bank of Canada is expected to Bank of Canada rate statement. Are they going to cut interest rates? I think they are. I didn't actually put that down. Let me just have a quick check on that. I think they are expected to cut interest rates. Yeah. So economists are going for a cut of 25 basis points. Okay, 25 basis points from 2.75 to 2.5. So that's pretty much priced into the markets. Canada, a rate cut. So if you've got mortgages out in Canada, well, you can expect the prices to come down. That's what's basically being expected. If they don't, because that's priced in, and because the analysts are expecting it, it's priced into the yield curve. If it doesn't happen, then you could expect to see the Canadian dollar trade stronger. Okay, Canadian dollar today is slightly off, again, because of the risk off sentiment, although oil prices are trading higher this morning, I noticed. So keep an eye on that. And also 3 o'clock on Wednesday, we've got the ISM Services PMI, Purchasing Managers Index. 52 is expected from 51.6. Again, anything that's bigger than expected, interest rates are likely to stay higher for longer. So if their numbers are dropping, we expect to see interest rate cuts. Interest rate cuts means the currency follows. And on Thursday, the main event, really, there's two main events this week, but this is really the main event of the week. This is what's basically going to be on everyone's mind if you're trading the currency markets, and that's the European Central Bank rate decision. And they are also expected to cut their interest rates by 25 basis points. Okay, so that's pretty much priced into the market. But as with all these rate statements, the most important factor would be the forward guidance, the press conference. Okay, so the forward guidance gives us the clues to what they or she, Lagarde, President Lagarde, is thinking. There is a call, I think, from a lot of the economists and the people that analyze this much deeper than I do, because I don't really know what I'm talking about when it comes to economics. Well, not in terms of projections, but there's a feel that with the tariffs and the uncertainty that that's likely to have on inflation, and the fact that this tariff thing with Trump is moving sort of almost daily, the uncertainty means that they may hold back on any imminent cuts. Okay, so if that's the case, if they come in with a 25 basis point cut, ordinarily you'll see the currency trade lower with a cut. But I think it's more likely that because it's priced in and they might be a little bit more hawkish, that basically means upward pressure on rates. You might see the euro perform better on an interest rate cut, which isn't normally what you would expect. Certainly, that's not what ChatGPT would tell you. But normally, you'd expect to see a cut and the currency to trade lower. I think it's more likely this week to see a cut in interest rates, but the euro actually perform reasonably well, especially in the light of the weaker US dollar, which has definitely been affected to the downside with all the tariffs and uncertainties, which is basically why I'm quite keen on buying euro dollar on any pullbacks. More about that in a second. What do I use for the feed? Yeah, Forex Factory, as good as any. Yeah, a lot of them have widgets that just pull into that. No, Forex Factory is good. I also have a Squawk, which is a paid-for subscription from a third party. But if you want to know who that is, you can send me a private message on the Discord, and I'll tell you. But I'm not here to promote them. I just something I use for my for my economic news and so forth. It's got quite a good news rolling feed as well. Right. So so that is Thursday, big event, ECB, and press conference need to be watched. Then we've got Friday. Friday is the non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll is how many jobs have been created in the economy. So that comes out at 1:30 on Friday. It used to be the biggest market driver of the calendar month. You know, you've heard the expression before in the past, you know, if the USA sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. Whatever happens in the US has ramifications throughout the other economies and markets. Okay, so how many jobs have been added? So we'll pay attention to that. We'll also, an average hourly earnings up 0.3 from up 0.2. Remember, that's inflationary. If earnings are going up, it means people have got more money, it means people spend more money, it's inflation. If average earnings comes up, it might mean that the Fed are less likely to cut interest rates sooner rather than later. At the moment, the yield curve or the swaps market is basically pricing in 2 cuts for the rest of 2025. Again, that's always subject to change. I won't show you today, but you can see that on CME Fed Watch, what the markets, what the futures market is expecting. As I say, the cutting, expected to cut 2. If these numbers come in stronger than expected, that 2 might become 1.5 or might even become 1 at some point. And the unemployment rate is pretty static around 4.2%. Now, we are going to be streaming that live if anyone's interested. I'm also going to be giving away some assessment accounts on that as well. So join me live on Friday. If you don't already subscribe to the channel, subscribe now to the YouTube channel, and that way you'll be notified when we, of course, do go live. When I hit that broadcast button, you'll be notified immediately. And as I say, we're giving away live on the event some assessment accounts for the nearest the pin, whoever gets the numbers correct. We haven't decided, I don't think, it's out of my control. We haven't decided what we're giving away exactly, what the size is. But I say we'll be watching that. So keep an eye on that on the social medias and so forth, and we'll let you know what that prize giveaway is. But it's a great event, bit of fun, and we'll see you there on Friday. We've also got Canadian unemployment coming out on 1:30 as well. I don't think that's a massive event. It's all been billed as a red folder event in Forex Factory and the like, but it's not really, I don't think, especially once you've had the Bank of Canada move their interest rates or had their interest rates decision early on in the week. So it's not such a big one. But the big ones will be for this week will be the ECB on Thursday and non-farm payroll on Friday. And, of course, Machu's birthday as well. So there you are. That's another massive event of the calendar week. It's birthday. Is my birthday fan plus, please make me very happy. There you are. Okay, so there you are. It's your birthday tomorrow. Machuda Zakio. Happy birthday for tomorrow. Hopefully you have a good day. All right. Jigga, I'll be there on Friday. Good, Jigga. I hope to see you there. Hope to see you there. Oops. Okay, there you are on Discord. If you're not into Discord, you can scan that if you're not haven't done so already. Come and join us on the Discord. I know a lot of you there are in the Discord already. We do have a training and education tab in there where we'll try to populate. It gets spammed by other people in there, but we try to populate sort of ideas as well. We do also have a private channel for members only. You can get that at any time. Just send me a private message if you're interested in joining the private group. Okay, right, there we are. So this is the markets at the moment. Let's have a quick start off before we get into all the other stuff. Let's have a quick look at the currency markets. Okay, so this is the momentum meter. Again, I'll say it one more time. This does not predict the future. Okay, but it does tell me what's happening at the moment. Now, if you just look at the majors and minors, there's 8 different currencies. That's 28 different currency pairs you can trade. You know, you can go through all 28 different currency pairs to look to see if there's any opportunities. Or you can look at something like this. It's basically a strength meter. I had it coded for me many, many years ago. 2006, I had this coded. Wasn't on trading view. I had it coded on MT4, but we've since had it moved onto trading view. There's quite a few of them out there now. I think a lot of people have copied onto it. But I was the sort of leader in this, I think, many years ago. It basically tells me what currencies are being bought and which currencies are being strong. For me, trading is all about having an edge, and it's all about having an edge which is, proven and back tested, that works out over the long period of time. It's very hard. It's impossible to be right on each and every trade that anyone does. Trading is all about laws of probability, laws of large numbers. The more numbers, the more sort of sample size you have, the better the edge will play out. But for me, if you toss a coin, you're 50-50 chance of getting a move right. I believe, and it's proven for me, at least over the years, that using something like this can improve your edge. If the coin toss is 50-50, using something like this can increase that edge slightly in your favor. And if you can get an edge slightly in your favor, you've got a winning strategy. It's as simple as that, if you're able to follow it religiously. So if I'm trend following, then clearly it makes sense for me to buy a currency that everyone's buying and sell a currency that everyone's selling. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to continue, but if that's where it is at the moment on the higher time frame charts, then it stands to reason that the odds are slightly more in your favor for that trend to continue. So, for example, if you look here at the blue line, which is the euro, and the grey line, which is the New Zealand dollar, they're moving in line. Yeah, they're going up and down, moving up and down. They're sort of, look at this grey line. It's moving down, moving up, just crossed over. See it back here. They move down, right, and then it moved up. There's no edge in that. Euro New Zealand, why would I want to trade that? I don't see any real reason. Let's have a look at the Euro New Zealand on the chart. Right? Am I going to try and get into this? I haven't even got it on here, have I? See, look at this. Now that's the momentum meter telling me that. How you can get into a trend as a trend follower in that, you're going to be whipsawed, chucked about all over the place. So the momentum meter tells me that I don't want to be trading this currency pair. Yeah. Now, when it's like this, fine. I don't mind when I see this type of movement. Yeah. All these green candles all making higher highs. Yeah. I'll get down into the lower time frame charts and start getting involved in that. But this type of nonsense, I'm going to leave alone. And that clue came from the momentum meter. Is it possible for me to get that chart on my... Are you talking about this? You're talking about this, Jigger? Yeah, if you want to get this...
Gas futures rise over 6%.
Gas futures rising 6%. Well, there you go. Have a look at gas. So yes, you can. Just go over to trading. You go to indicators, type in momentum, and it will come up. Momentum meter for 8 top currencies. Here's the guy. He used to work for me many years ago. He wrote it. He wrote this up for me, and you can see it there. You can just add it on. It's free. It's free. And there are other ones available, of course. So there you are. And you can hop it. I have this on the 4-hour chart, but you can put this on the lower time frame charts. So if you want to go down to the 1-hour chart, it's going to take a couple of seconds for it to work it up. Yeah. Now I'm not a scalper anymore. When I was in the trading pits many years ago, yeah, that's what I did. I was scalping. You know, I was just basically I'd buy and sell with even before I'd even had a chance to write the trade down on my card. But now I don't scalp so much these days. But if you're scalping, I mean, look at this. This is a 1-hour chart. Yeah. If I'm scalping and I'm on a lower time frame charts from a 5-minute chart, I'm looking at weakness in the Canadian dollar. This Canadian dollar, I'm looking at selling that, and I'm looking at potentially buying the pound. The pound against the Canadian dollar at this moment in time, pound CAD is worth a buy. Okay, so that's the daily. So if you go down to the 4-hour chart, this has been trading up now for it's been trading up now for since 184 to 185.5. So I'll do my analysis by looking at that. Would I be buying this at the moment? I would be reluctant to buy this, quite frankly, at the moment, because you're coming into some resistance. But you know, that just gives me a clue on where I want to start looking. Doesn't mean I have to trade it, but rather than taking something that hasn't really shown any hand, this is showing me a hand. If you take that down now to the 15-minute chart, you know, there's potential. You know, in fact, you've got the boomerang setups here already. The boomerang is when I look to enter trades on a pullback to the previous high. So here you've got a boomerang set up there. If you had been trading my strategy, you'd have been getting long here at around 185.41. Okay, yeah, and your stops below here. So that is your trade using my strategies. You know, on a boomerang. So that would be on a lower time on a 15-minute chart. Trend is up. One's strong, one's weak. That would be my trade. And I'll stops below here and my profit target at the next level of resistance. And I expect this to be a good level of resistance, by the way. This one you had some good, I would say, I mean, that's basically where you'll be on that one. You've got to get past this roadblock. But that alone gives you 2.8 to 1. I only need a few of them a week. A few of them a week, and you're well on your way to hitting your prop assessment targets. Yeah. And then obviously you take your live account for keeping discipline. But that's basically what I'll be looking at now. And just using the strategies to get into the trade on a pullback. Okay. So at the moment, what's this telling me? Just go back to the 4-hour chart. It's telling me, and I think it's my trade really for the week. This is telling me the green line is the greenback, is the dollar. US dollar is under pressure at the moment. I'm for selling the dollar this week. Monday, beginning of the week, beginning of the month, tariffs, uncertainty, 25% still, 25%, 50%, I think, aluminum. You've got weakening dollar across the board. You've got weakening. Well, you haven't actually got weakening rates, but I mean, you've got weakening dollar across the board. Still continues to be lower, and you've got stable euro. I'm actually looking at the euro dollar trading higher this week. Okay, that's a 15-minute chart. Let's just go back to the 1-hour chart. Okay, so my bias is. Excuse me, 2 secs. Yeah, so I'm actually looking at this to trade higher into this week. One thing, if you've been following me around for the years, I talk about roadblock resistance and roadblock support. Okay. One of the hardest trades in the book is to do nothing. But if you can learn to do nothing, now obviously brokers don't tell you this because they want you to trade and lose money. But if you sit on your hands, the hardest trade in the book, I think you'll increase your win-loss ratio. And what I say about sitting on your hands is avoid roadblock resistance and support. So at the moment, we're pretty okay on here, up to 157.75, right? We've got about 150 pips to play with. Yeah, and I'm going to be trading this to the upside. I haven't got an entry at the moment. I mean, you might get something on the 15-minute chart. Let's have a look. If you're on the 15-minute chart, which is way too fast for me these days. But you got the bias. You're looking for your entries. We haven't really, well, we have. You had this minor pullback. Would I have been in that one? No. I think my pullback from here is 113.80. Okay, so the boomerang strategy will get you in here to that zone there. Okay, then you've got the swing low that led to that swing high and this break of structure here, and it's a decent break of structure as well. Yep, that level there is where you'll enter, and the stop is going to be below the swing low that led to that break of structure that led to that new high. I mean, and that's would basically be my bias. But you've got that roadblock resistance up there at 1470. So just be wary of that. But if you're looking at selling the dollar, well, I mean, this brown line is the Japanese yen. So that means selling dollar yen. Selling dollar yen, I think it's got a strong bias to continue lower. Don't just trade that for the sake of it. You've got to have your strategy rules in place. And I'll tell you now, again, you've got the bias. I mean, look at that. You've got the bias. You've got the trend lower. And then you've got yeah, there it is. So had you been trading my strategy that I've been using forever, you'll be short here now. And I'm not on the 15-minute chart, but you're getting the gist of it. The short trades there. Your stops above the swing low that led to, and where's my profit target? Let me just go out to the 4 hour for a minute. 1 hour even. Profit target is going to be down there at 42.30. So 42.30. $42.30 takes you down to there. On the trend, you got 2 to 1 there on a strong trend. You've got a weak dollar, it's weak. You've got a strong yen, it's strong across the board. Those two are moving at the moment. The trend is down. We've got no roadblock support down until 42.30. You've got to trade right there. Now, not all of them are going to work. You're going to get pulled back and you're going to get stopped out. But you know, when you're shooting for 2 to 1 risk reward on a strong trend with 2 currencies that are opposing directions, you know, of course you're going to get stopped out. How do you deal with that? Is up to you. It's down to you ultimately. But I guess when you've been trading the markets for as long as I have, you don't get disappointed when you get stopped out, and you don't get elated when you hit profits. It's just what we do. But that's a mental thing, mindset thing that obviously takes time or mentoring to get you into that state. But yeah, I think it does. It does look as though it wants to break lower. Yeah, I think so. Euro wants to break above. I agree. I think so. Yeah. Matrud Zakio, we learn a lot with you. That's the idea. That is the idea. I don't know if anyone saw my webinar last week. You know, we want to The reason why the team here have got me on board, here at Funded Trading Plus, is we want to create winning traders. Winning traders actually benefit us. Okay, so we put winning traders into a basket of traders, and we can use that data to make money with algos and so forth. So it's our interest to create winning traders. That's basically what I'm trying to do here, to get people to start thinking things differently, to begin to think like a trader. Because I know the people out there. I mean, I know I've mentored enough students in my time over the years to know that this can be taught. This can be, can be mentored and can be, coached. There are people out there. It could be you. Might not be you. Some people are not coachable. Some people are not able to be taught. Not everyone has the ability, but there are people out there, and this is what we're trying to do. I'm just kind of giving you the simplest approach. You can really complicate this game up as much as you wish, but at the end of the day, simple is the way to go. Probability. Think about probability. Think about law of large numbers. So dollar yen. So this Aussie dollar is getting a bit of a bid. Let's just have a look at stocks in general. Are stocks getting bid up at the moment? No, stocks are still under stocks are still in risk off. So the S&P 500 is down 0.25%, pretty flat. The NASDAQ's down 0.3%. DAX is down. Nikkei is down. Tariffs again. FTSE is flat on the day. The CAC, the French market, I haven't got that updated. I have to update that. China's down. So all the stock markets are down. So we're still in risk off. We're still in risk off territory, although the Aussie is looking reasonably strong. When you're on risk on and the Aussie is looking strong, you want to be buying the Aussie. It's most probably not a buy at the moment. Well, look, this is the Aussie. That's why this is the Aussie on the daily. It's weak, although the CAD's strong. CAD and euro are strong. Euro, look at the daily euro. New Zealand strong. Right, you've got 5 minutes to enter this competition. Guessing gold for the end of the week. Okay. Let me tell you what I think about gold. Risk off. Roadblock resistance in gold is where? Well, we've got it drawn in here. Really, I mean, you got 3,500. It's a massive level. It rolled off it there with this big. Oh, look. I know a lot of you look at smart money concepts and institutional order flow. This tells you here that there are profit takers up at these levels. When you see this high wick daily candle, where it touched into the 3,500 and came off like a stone, it shows you there's institutional orders up there. So at the moment, you can take this higher. I was reading a report yesterday showing that India have increased their holdings of gold by 7%. This is the natural. Remember, India is gifts for weddings and so forth. They've increased as a country, they've increased their holdings by 7% in gold. That's actually buying the metal. It's not buying the futures or what have you. Institutions are buying gold. Dollar's weak. If dollar's weak, gold becomes more cheaper. If there's times of uncertainty with Trump and his tariffs, what's going to happen to gold? Gold is a safe haven. Money's flowing into gold at the moment. I would be looking to get into gold on pullbacks on the CFDs. I do own quite a lot of gold ETFs, so I'm doing all right. But I don't day trade that. I sort of look at it every few months. But yeah, if we take out, this is at 3.3. I mean, I think we challenge 4.2. So for me, my view on gold for this week, this is only my view. If you copy me, then you're going to lose. Andrew's pick for gold for this week. I'm going to buy gold. I beg your pardon. I'm going to look at gold pulling back. I would say, I mean, it's difficult to target this one, but I think 4315 is what I'm going for. Sorry, 3415 is my pick. Oops, 3415. That's my pick for gold, which is just ahead of this area of where I think you might find some mini resistance. Now, remember, before we get up there, we do have a non-farm payroll on Friday, which could impact the dollar, which could in turn impact here. But this is a gradual grind up. Now, unless tariffs, and this is the big turnaround in tariffs from Trump today or the next couple of days, there's no real reason why you want to sell gold, for me personally. So there you have it. So you got about 3 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. So that's my view on gold. Anyone want me to look at anything in particular? Weak dollar, strong yen, noted. Yep, but don't. But what are you going to do on that? Weak dollar, strong yen, noted. But you don't go off and trade that unless you're following a strategy, unless the rules apply. Otherwise, you'll end up in all sorts of knots. All sorts of knots in there. Right. Now, here we go. We've just popped this in. If you want to take a 15% discount from on the Experienced Trader program for today on the 50% of up to 100K account, 15%. Take 15 is the code you want to use. There's no time limits. So you can take this account. When I say no time limits on the evaluation phase. Time limits on this offer, of course. But if you want to take the assessment, you've got, and I would suggest if you are taking this, that you don't try and smash the profit targets in a day. You know, it does happen. But I would suggest you take it seriously and have gradual grinds. Get yourself the strategy sorted. If you want to learn more about our strategies and all my education stuff, which is now available to the public, you can send me a private message. You can send that to my name, which is Andrew, at, well, clearly, the domain name, fundedtradingplus.com. So send me that, and I'll let you know more about how you can get involved in our select group of traders with lots of education going on there. We've got like 50 at the moment, 50, and it's growing all the time. That's what I do in the sidelines, growing the education. We've got Simon. You remember Simon, the CEO, our CEO. He's got a fantastic psychology course, literally 10 hours of fantastic content as well. We offer that in the package as well. Lots of cheat sheets, trade journals, and so forth. If you want to take more information on that, just send me an email and I'll let you know. There you are. And they have actually, we did close it on, we did close it on Thursday. There is a package where you can get a $10,000 instant funded account as well with the education if you're interested. But again, email me. I haven't got any codes that I can put up at the moment. But if you're interested in that, Andrew at fundedtradingplus.com if you're interested in taking your trading to the next level. Right. Okay. You got about 50 seconds for the gold competition to run its course. I think you've got a fair indication of my biases. I'm happily buying the euro against the dollar this week at the moment. I'm happily looking at gold. Happy to buy gold on pullbacks. I don't think you want to be looking at. I don't think you want to be. I think the euro is going to do well, even in the which chance of a cut. I still think it will do well. With the Aussie under pressure, is there something in Euros? I haven't looked at Euros today. Euros, a quick look before I finish. There's your roadblock. Look, bounced off it. Would you have sold it here? Tempted, isn't it? But that's the support. We're in an uptrend from 130, 173 for our uptrend. What am I doing here? For our, well, let's pull back. Yeah, pull back into liquidity area and holds it. Old resistance, acting as support always. Not such a good one, but there you are. Okay, folks, I'll leave that there. So happy birthday to you tomorrow, Matrud. Congratulations. I'll see you all next week for the gold giveaway on Monday. But I'll also see you on Friday for the live non-farm payroll event. We haven't quite decided on what we're giving away, but we'll be giving away some free accounts just for getting guessing the NFP, the nearest to the NFP number, which we're going for 130 is what the analysts are going for anyway. More recently, they've been pretty accurate in their guesses. Okay, thanks very much for tuning in, guys. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for the interaction. Stay safe. Only take the high take the high probability trade setups, and pack all that gambling up. See you Friday, Jigger. See you one and all.